This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. PNP wants probes into disappearance of Donaldson expedited. The People's National Party is calling for the authorities to expedite the investigations into the disappearance of social media personality Donaldson. The 24-year-old has been missing since July 11. The PNP says her family, friends, and the entire nation have been left with more questions than answers about her whereabouts. Given that the police personnel have been associated with her disappearance, the PNP says it wants the Independent Commission of Investigations to be vigilant in its statutory responsibility to ensure probity and that no stone is left unturned. The party is demanding full transparency in the investigations and that the Jamaica Constabulary Force goes the extra mile to ensure its operations are above board. The public is looking on and expects that the law-abiding both within and outside of the force will do whatever is within their powers to support a thorough investigation, said a spokesperson in a statement. The party is encouraging anyone with information on Donaldson's disappearance to contact the JCF or Indicom. We stand with the family in their efforts to find justice. St. Catherine Parish Court Administrative Office reopens. The Court Administration Division is reporting that full service will resume today at the Administrative Office of the St. Catherine Parish Court. Sections of the office were scorched by a fire on Sunday. A man has since been arrested in relation to a case of suspected arson. With the reopening of the office, the agency says civil and family matters listed for the main court in Spanish Town and its outstation in Linstead, Old Harbour, and Portmore will be rescheduled to new dates. Therefore, members of the public are being asked to attend the respective courts on their given dates in order to be advised of the new dates. Further, criminal and traffic matters listed for the main court in Spanish Town and its outstation in Linstead and Old Harbour will be heard as previously scheduled. For more information, members of the public may contact the Court Administration Division at 876-754-8337 or email at customerservice@cad.gov.jm. Jamaican man in Cayman pleads guilty to overstaying and altering travel document. A Jamaican man who overstayed in Cayman for 10 years and was caught trying to leave the country on the passport of a man who was murdered 4 years ago pleaded guilty when he appeared in a Caymanian court on Monday. Dennis Ramsey was arrested in May as he attempted to board a flight to Honduras. The passport was in the name of Doug Moore Wright, who was shot and killed in March 2018. A Cayman Airways agent reportedly became suspicious of the passport, which appeared to have been tampered with. The agent also noticed Ramsey's Jamaican accent. Customs and Border Control officers were alerted, and the man was arrested. Ramsey was not connected to Mr. Wright's murder and reportedly paid $3,000 for the passport. The Jamaican pleaded guilty to overstaying and altering a travel document when he appeared in court. He will be sentenced when he returns to court in September. Man fatally shot in Riverton City. A man was shot dead in Riverton City in Kingston on Monday morning. About 6 o'clock, Donovan Williams, a 29-year-old scrap metal worker of Ferguson Drive in Riverton City, left home to purchase items at a nearby shop. He was fatally shot when he returned home. The Hunts Bay police are trying to ascertain the motive for the killing. Jamaica retains a Tier 2 status in U.S. human trafficking report. Jamaica has retained its Tier 2 status in the 2022 U.S. State Department Trafficking in Persons report. The department states that Jamaica does not fully meet the minimum standards for the elimination of traffic, but is making significant efforts to do so. It notes that the government has demonstrated overall increasing efforts compared to the previous reporting period, considering the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on its anti-trafficking capacity. These efforts, according to the report, included identifying more victims, including survivors of labor trafficking, formally launching a national referral mechanism for child victims, expanding training for officials on victim identification and referral, opening a child-friendly space for interviewing and providing immediate assistance to child victims, and making arrests for the illegal operation of private employment agencies. However, the State Department said the government did not meet the minimum standards in several key areas. Convicted traffickers received suspended prison sentences and fines, penalties that were not on par with the severity of their crimes. Unlike last year, no victims were awarded restitution, read the report. The government did not provide adequate funding for trafficking victim protection services. Although the government provided some training for law enforcement and criminal justice officials, these efforts were ad hoc, and the government did not provide consistent, standardized anti-trafficking training for officials, the report continued. The report highlighted that officials investigated 53 potential trafficking cases, 51 involving sex trafficking, and 2 involving forced labor, compared with 43 potential cases, 42 for sex trafficking, and 1 for forced labor investigated in the previous reporting period. It further noted that the authorities prosecuted 4 sex trafficking suspects and convicted 2 sex traffickers, a slight increase from 3 suspects prosecuted and 1 sex trafficker convicted during the previous reporting period. The slow pace at which cases moved through the courts hampered efforts to hold the traffickers criminally accountable and deterred victims from serving as witnesses. The government did not report investigations, prosecutions, or convictions of government employees suspected of complicity in trafficking offenses. Endemic corruption and complicity, including within law enforcement, remained significant obstacles to anti-trafficking law enforcement efforts, the report stated. However, it highlighted that the government maintained efforts to protect the victims while it strengthened policies and procedures for identifying and assisting victims. Charles Sr. commanded missing students back to classrooms. Former Jamaica Labour Party Deputy Leader Colonel Charles Sr. is urging political representatives to intensify efforts to have students displaced from the education system by the pandemic back into the classroom to finish their formal education, lest they end up turning to crime. Charles made the call while addressing Sunday evening's JLP divisional meeting at Nain Basic School in St. Elizabeth to boost the support for the party's prospective candidate for the Myersville division in the upcoming polls, Delroy Hutchinson. Thousands of children have not gone back to school. And what are you doing, counselors? Walk in the district and tell a Pitney, you have to go back to school. This government has to put on additional funds for each child for PATH, and the present government will make sure that every child has the opportunity to go back to school, said Charles, referencing the Program of Advancement Through Health and Education, a state welfare initiative. Every member of parliament, every justice of the peace, every community leader, I call on you today. If the children do not go back to school, they will be going to a school that you don't want them to go to. They will be under the tree, and then you will hear when the Americans come for them, Charles warned. He was alluding to a flurry of extradition requests from the United States in recent times for Jamaicans who have been charged with lottery scamming, money laundering, drug running, and other crimes. Charles also called on parents to take greater responsibility for their children's education, rubbishing the perspective of students leaving school to seek employment in order to help their families financially. I am hurt so much when I hear children saying, my mother say I'm 16 and I must get a little job. Me can't give it up. Rubbish. Go back to school, said Charles. I appeal to you mothers and fathers who do not come to PTA meetings. Get your children back in school because this government is spending millions and millions to make sure that the children come up in a better way. Parents, you are responsible for your children, and you have read, you have seen, and you must take the lead. In May this year, it was reported that approximately 27,000 children have not returned to school since full in-person learning resumed at the primary and the secondary levels, with several students having taken on employment with meager earnings. Richard Troop, the acting director of the Safety and the Security Unit in the Ministry of Education, indicated at that time that legal action may be taken against the parents who are found to be neglectful in ensuring that their children are in school. Man killed by police during alleged abduction of woman in Manchester. Police say a man was fatally shot and a firearm seized during an alleged abduction of a woman in Midday, Manchester on Monday night. The man's identity has not yet been released. One Browning 9mm pistol with 2 rounds of ammunition were seized. A police report said sometime Monday night, officers responded to a call about the abduction of a woman in a Toyota Mark X motor car. The police say gunmen opened fire on them. The gunfire was returned and one of 3 men was fatally shot. The police said the other men managed to escape. The woman was not harmed during the confrontation. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.